what I do, it's still a struggle to survive. Don't know if I'ma ever make it out this game alive. No matter what I do, I cannot seem to get ahead. Instead of hoping for the best, they'd rather see me dead. No matter what I do, it's still a struggle to survive.
Well, welcome gentlemen to the Monkman, Marl Kalone. I am your host, the Monkman, and this is episode 12 of season 1. I'm again doing the show at a strange hour. It's 4:40 a.m. on a Saturday morning, day before St. Patrick's Day. What the hell am I doing up at 4:40 on a Saturday, you ask? I have no idea other than bringing you another show. So there you go. Early morning. Maybe I'm high on drugs. I don't know what it is, but here we are. And was looking through my list of topics for upcoming shows, and I decided that today is a good day to do a show about people, specifically men, not being parents in today's Western society. This kind of fits in with a couple of the previous shows I did, the one specifically why men should not get married today, and also the unrealistic expectations of women when marriage does occur today was another show. So this was a perfect topic to kind of get in these first dozen shows and kind of complete the trilogy on it. As I was doing my research online for this, a few things kind of stuck out at me. The first one being that the trend of people not having children is definitely gaining momentum. It specifically with the younger people, it is becoming a bigger and bigger thing. There's a multitude of reasons for that, and not all of them have to do with the broken system with family courts that's against men and things of that nature. It's simply today it is just so damn expensive to take care of children and to meet all of these obligations that society seems to deem that we must meet, like parents paying for college, parents buying the child's first car, enrolling them in all of the after-school activities and sports. When I was a kid, the majority of this stuff was much less of a front point issue. Kids weren't automatically given college money by their parents just because they were the kids. Kids had to go out and get jobs. They had to work to earn the money to go to college and pay for it. And today it's just seems to be assumed by kids that they are, that they're entitled to that. There's an entitlement attitude in today's society like I've never seen in my entire life. And that's a whole nother topic. It's a huge topic. We're not going to get into that today, but all I'm saying is the entitlement today is a major factor in people not having kids. You have the entitlement of the children, but then you also have the entitlement of the couple. They want to do what they want to do selfishly. If they don't want to have kids, they want to spend their money on vacations or traveling the world. And to be honest, if you decide to do that, there really is nothing wrong with that. I had kids myself, and I learned a hell of a lot about raising children. My kids are gone off to do their own things now, but I learned a hell of a lot, and I observed a hell of a lot. And to be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with people kind of being in a selfish mode and wanting to do what makes them happy. And some people that is not having children. And the reason I say there's nothing wrong with that is because society has put this obligation on us from childhood right up through adulthood, that we need to have kids, that we're expected to have kids, we're expected to get married. And if you don't fall in line with that, then somehow you've got something wrong with you, or you're doing something wrong. I believe that's an unrealistic expectation from society to make everybody conform to this specific social image. And the government certainly loves it, because they attach a barcode to us, i.e. the Social Security number from the day we're born, and they give us a lifetime value based on a huge set of parameters, the least of which is race, obviously the ethnicity, the type of disease factors, and a whole bunch of other things. They know from the minute we're born what an average life value is for that individual. So there's this expectation from society that the government reinforces, because they want to make the money off of the citizens to fill their coffers. And if you don't conform to that, then somehow you're an outcast, and something is off about you. I don't agree with that. I think it is a perfectly legitimate option in today's world to go without having children. Specifically talking about males and fatherhood. Beyond the problems that I've discussed, you have a whole other range of issues that are mainly specific to men. Not the least of which is the fact that if you end up in divorce, which over 50% of marriages do today in the Western world, so you've got less than a coin flip chance to not have that happen. If you have the marriage break up, then the odds become even worse than 50-50 that you will end up with no custody of the children. You will either be relegated to a weekend dad, or worse, like in my situation with my oldest child, I was alienated from her and had my child kidnapped from me, even across state lines, for 9 years of her 18-year life. Subsequently, because of that, and because of the fact that the state courts refused to intervene on my behalf, the relationship at this point in time has been destroyed. Now, keep in mind, this is a very, very common occurrence for males across the country. In fact, I took my case to my state Supreme Court on it. One day we'll do a show to discuss, the crimes committed by the courts and the crimes committed by the attorneys and a whole bunch of other things. That'll be a good show because we can have other people chime in and share their horrifying experiences as fathers. But for today's discussion, all I'm saying is that you can end up with the bad end of the deal as a father in today's society, and the odds are very much against you. It's fair to say that women end up with full custody when the marriages break up in today's Western world, and specifically for the United States. They end up with custody over 80% of the time. Now, it ranges differently in every state, and there are a few states that now have shared custody as the rule rather than the exception, and that has come on in the last few years. And I've been part of a couple of organizations that fought hard to get that passed. I was on the board of directors of one of them here in my state of Utah. So some things have gotten better in certain states for that, but still the majority of the states in the United States are way, way behind the times. And as a man, if you get divorced, the chances of you ending up with custody at best case scenario is about 1 in 5. 1 in 5. That's pretty daunting odds. Couple that with the fact that marriage ends over 50% of the time in this country, and you are looking at some serious odds against you. You really are. So that's one of the big issues. Once you lose custody of this child or children, you will be on the hook for extreme financial resource drain from the government. And I'm not talking they will come in and politely ask you if you can pay some money. They will come in, and depending on the state you're in, they will come in and take, in some cases, 60% of men's gross income. Depends on what you make, and the more you make, the more they rob from you. I have seen personally hundreds and hundreds of cases, and people have screenshot their check stubs where somebody could make $1,000 for the week. By the time taxes and Social Security and then child support was taken out, some of these men had less than $180 left on that check. Now do that for 4 weeks over the month. You make $4,000 and you don't bring home $800. How is a man honestly to survive? You cannot. So that's another reason why I recommend young men really think seriously and think twice about having children in today's society. The third reason, and the most important reason in my opinion, is that if you are relegated to a weekend dad, or worse, you have your children alienated from you, illegally kept from you, you will lose your bond with those children. You will lose that connection as a parent, and you will have all of the outstanding, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to say this. You will have all of the outstanding repercussions that come with that. It will absolutely devastate you as a parent if you have any moral character. I know it did for me. Luckily, I had full custody of my youngest from the time she was born. She was with me until she finished high school and was almost 19. That I was able to resolve that situation on that end. But as far as my oldest, I lost seeing her from the time she was 14, and I didn't see her for her first 5 years of life. Both times she was kidnapped from me. And subsequently, once she was 14, She was taken away to another state away from me illegally. And we have had no relationship since. That is devastating to a parent and to a man. To lose your children, your flesh and blood, and to know that the government doesn't think of you as anything more than a bank account, an interest-bearing bank account that they can financially drain at any point in time that they feel like doing so. They can also take away your driver's licenses in some states if you get behind on child support. You can be arrested, even though our country did away with debtors' prisons long ago, and money, getting behind on money payments is a civil, not criminal action in this country. Even if you look past the fact that the child support is illegal in the first place, they will still arrest you and put you in jail for being behind in child support. Even though we've done away with the debtor's prison, even though this is considered a civil rather than a criminal matter, you will still be put in jail. Make no mistake, the government is a legalized mafia against male parents. Absolute legalized mafia. And they will enforce their rights to steal your money ruthlessly and without prejudice. Now, there's not a lot of solutions to fight back against the government. You can try to fight for your rights. Do as I did. I have 2 legal boxes with more than 10,000 individual pages of documents. I have 20 plus years worth of files. You can go through all of that. I took my case through district courts, through the Court of Appeals, and finally to the state Supreme Court. If you're interested in doing all those things, you can certainly roll the dice and have kids in today's society and take your chances and end up there if that's something that sounds appealing to you. If it doesn't, if you're a level-headed individual and this sounds absolutely off the wall to you, there is only one common sense approach to today's world. Men are under attack like never before from the feminists and from the government and the media. This means that having children is absolutely a risk, a gamble, where the odds are heavily against you. And it is a very, very unwise situation and decision for today's Western men. The benefits do not outweigh the risk in today's world. Now, there may come a point in time where the odds of having children become more favorable for men. And I look forward to that time, and I have hope in my mind that that time may come. Because so many men, and even young couples, are walking away from having children today. I haven't even mentioned the fact that child services or any of these other criminal enterprises can come in at any time and interfere with your right to parent your children. That's a whole separate issue. But men, as much as I hate to say this to you, because there are certainly parts that are the only way you're going to get them is to be a parent, is what I'm saying. There certainly are benefits to that, and the only way you can ever see those or have those experiences is to be a parent. If I had to go back and do it all over again, would I be a parent in today's world? That's a really difficult question. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure that I could say yes. As hard as that is to say. There are so many things working against us today. So many different aspects and factions working against us today. Working against society in general. And then you break it down to men, and it becomes even more grim. This is my position on having children today. I just do not believe that young men coming up, if you value your freedom, if you value your financial future, if you value your security, if you value building a life for yourself, if you value dreams you have, if you value being able to do and accomplish the things that you want in life, it is extremely, extremely difficult to impossible to recommend you have children today. The world is too volatile, and it is against men too much. It's just not, it's not a wise decision. Now, I was looking through other articles online to see what famous men have not had children, and I was surprised by a few. Christopher Walken, who incidentally is one of my favorite actors, never had children. And look at what he has been able to accomplish. John Cusack, again, look at what he's been able to accomplish for his career and for himself. You don't see the drama on either one of these men with the divorces in the marriage, with illegitimate kids, with custody battles, with financial battles, with them being financially ruined. They made a sound decision in today's world in the best interest of themselves, and it has worked out wonderful. Now, what I'm saying to you is your odds will increase for success in today's battlefield world choosing to walk away from having children with the aggression that the feminists and the government and media have towards men. Also, I was able to see Bill Maher. Not a fan of him, but he also didn't have children. He's achieved success to his level. Katharine Hepburn. Now, she was a screen legend. I do respect some of the things that she did as a woman. She certainly was an early feminist. But they had different value systems then. I don't agree with everything she did, but there's certainly some of her work is respectable. She never had children. Would she have been able to accomplish the things that she had if she had children? Would Christopher Walken? Would John Cusack? Would Bill Maher? And there could be hundreds and hundreds of other people that could be mentioned. It's a real question and food for thought, gentlemen. I want to know your feelings, your input. I want you to share your stories if you feel up to it in the comments. I try to read everything at this point. As the channel gets busier, I may not be able to respond to everything, but I certainly try to read everything. I want you to respond to me. Give me your thoughts as a man. Have you had children? Have you not had children but want to have children? Do you have no desire to have children? Share with me your thoughts. Share with me your thoughts on the topic itself, your personal thoughts. I do love to read them, and I like to see other people's perspectives, even if they're different than mine. But gentlemen, as a man today, I could not, in good conscience, recommend having children with this fucked up matrix that the government, the feminists, and the media have us living in. They want us to sell our souls to the devil and become slaves to their system. If you value your freedom, you can't become part of that. I'm out for now, gentlemen. I'll talk to you guys on the next show. Until then, as always, stay the fuck red-pilled.
Cuando vendo mis productos, dale duro, homeboy, échales todas tus ganas. A veces hay que sufrir por el dinero y la fama. Put a comma on the end, cause the verse isn't over. That's dedicated to my hustle, slinging dope on the corner. I hope that someday soon we can get up out the rain. But until that day comes, on the ground we gotta stay. Gotta slang to the rich, poor, needy, and the lost. Cold nights in the streets, steady to my heart frost. Got a dog, red and blue, but I don't mean the gang. I'm talking about 5-0, trying to put me in chains. Keep it simple and plain, no regrets and no complaints. Hard time, gotta hustle, struggle to survive, man. No matter what I do, it's still a struggle to survive. Don't know if I'ma ever make it out this game alive. No matter what I do, I cannot seem to get ahead.